And welcome back to Arthur Ashe Stadium at Flushing Meadows, where rain is, well, we've just heard an announcement actually that play had been suspended, and now the announcement that all matches have been abandoned for the evening except the Lindsay Davenport singles match, which was is due on this Arthur Ashe court. So officials are hoping that that match may be able to take place. I guess they'll wait. My guess would be they'd wait for another hour till about 9:30 or so New York time before they make another decision. But they're hoping that the rain will stop and they'll be able to get the Ashe Stadium court dry, and Lindsay Davenport would play her match against Silvia Farina Elia from Italy, number 4 seed against number 13 seed. That promised to be quite a good match. So let's hope that this light drizzle stops and the ground staff can get to work on the court and clean it up, dry it up, and we have hope that match may come on live a little way down the track this evening. So you can still see though in the lights there, the rain still coming in, and it might be a bit optimistic, but well, the tournament officials have got to do their best by the fans that are here and everybody concerned to try to get on some live tennis. So Louise, it's a bit of a disappointment, all of this, isn't it?
Very disappointing. I'm sure the players that have gotten through to their fourth round in the days previous will be very happy. The fact that they can go home, they're sitting in their hotel now, just relaxing and preparing for Monday, because really, you know, they've got to put it all out of their mind now, and it certainly does make it a lot easier for those players.
Okay, well, some matches did get started and we've been able to show you a couple of them, and another match that got underway earlier before the rain came, fourth round women's singles out in the grandstand court. Daniela Hantakova on screen, the number 11 seed, and she was up against Justine Enna from Belgium, the number 8 seed. So the promise of really an outstanding match between these two tremendous young players, and we pick it up from the start, and Hantakova will be serving.
Well, Hantakova is really in excellent form so far at the US Open. She's literally just flown through all of her earlier matches, barely dropping 3 or 4 games each match. She's just in great form. She's going to cause a lot of problems here to the number 6 seed.
Yes, Justine Enna has been playing okay herself, but probably not dominating in her matches quite the way Hantakova has.
We're just seeing another young player come onto the tour. It was last year, it was Justine Enna. Was her chance to come up and really increase her ranking up to number 6 in the world. She just really flew on the tour. She started off the year last year very well and has continued, and it's been this year that Daniela Hantakova has done almost the same sort of results. She was a winner of a Tier 1 tournament this year at Indian Wells, which was a great performance, but she's been really solid, getting to 5 Tier 1 tournaments in the semi-finals. That's pretty amazing stuff for a 19-year-old.
Love 15.
They've played twice before and they won all. And you mentioned Indian Wells. That was where Hantakova had success against Henin.
Let's replay the point.
Well, you see that ball just coming over from an outside on the adjacent court. Henin looking up the umpire. She's a bit unlucky there. I mean, she'd had the point sewn up. However, umpire made a judgment call that it could have affected play, so point being replayed.
Well, that's interesting, because really the ball was unplayable, wasn't it? By the time she hit it, there was no chance that Hantakova could have got anywhere near that shot.
15-13.
Daniela's her best performance at a Grand Slam was at Wimbledon this year in the quarterfinals. So sure, she's got in mind that she'd like to take it one more further, and she'll be looking at a quarterfinals or a semi-finals berth here, as would Justine Henin, obviously semi-finalist this year at Wimbledon.
Pretty tough draw this, that pits these two against each other in the fourth round. I mean, you've got to expect to play someone pretty good, but these are the best, two of the best younger players. Henna's 20 and Hendrikova 19, so they've got a lot of great tennis in front of them, these two. I think that could be a difference between the two players when you look at their styles and you see who could probably develop and go on to be a better player. I think clearly the serve is a better weapon for Hendrikova than it is for Henna, and she's got a break point here after that double fault.
Yes, I watched Henna yesterday play in her doubles, and she did 3 double faults in one of her service games, so she is struggling a little bit on that serve.
Juice.
Well, she's tried to beef it up a little because she knows the power of the Williams and Davenport and Capriati, and she's only such a slightly built player that she's tried to add more power to her serve, but not sure if I agree with the technique that she's using. Slightly abbreviated swing. So she's changed it a little, and I'm not sure if the results have improved it.
A backhand that's beautiful though, isn't it? She's got such a classic backhand, and she really can get a lot of variety off it, which causes a lot of the players a bit of trouble, that topspin, and then she can slice it. Unlike Hendrikova, much more of a one-dimensional game, just really is a power player from the back, much more of a baseline player.
So good start for Hendrikova.
Break 2 games to
serve, first time against Henna. Probably a poor choice of shot, that one from Justine. It was a low ball and she really got down and tried to drive it aggressively when perhaps she could have sliced it. It would have been a safer shot, and she has got a good slice backhand, so in the end it's cost her a serve.
Love 15.
That's a good shot by Hendrikova. I think that is a problem actually for Justine Henin. She has quite a versatile game, but sometimes it's a little too complex, and her choice of shots or the choice of stroke isn't always perhaps the right one. And that's usually what happens with a lot of the really talented players. It takes them a while to just develop and mature as players. I often see a lot of serve and volleyers maturing a little bit later than the baseline players.
That's just a superb shot. The ball sliced at her, so she had to handle different spin and then change the line of flight as well and went back down into the forehand corner. Beautiful timing there.
Easy generated power, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lovely smooth game. Just accelerates the racket head when necessary to add a little bit of extra speed on the shot.
It's a really tough shot for a single-handed backhand. You've got to be really strong in that upper shoulder area. A sweeping backhand, top spin.
Game and Djokovic.
Well, quick start.
Djokovic leads 3 games to none.
Gee, Justine Henin wouldn't be liking this start. I would certainly not have imagined that she would have dropped her serve and been in this situation.
Well, just I think that last shot was typified of how she started there. She was out of position, forced back, and she still was too aggressive with the shot. She didn't respect the ball enough that Hendrikova had hit to her, and she tried to really play an aggressive shot off it and hit it in the middle of the net to give the game away. She's tried a couple of shots, I think, that just aren't on. And I mean, you have to respect sometimes the ball that's coming at you and know when you should be defending, attacking, or in a situation where you know it's got to be a percentage shot.
That's right.
And sometimes I think she just continues to try to build up power too early sometimes in the rally.
It's a little impatient.
Yeah.
I think another player that typifies that kind of game is Elisa Raymond. I think when she came out of the collegiate system, they had very high hopes for her. She was a really all-round player, but gets a little confused out there on the court as well, overplays and tries to play too big of a game, and sometimes doesn't quite respect the ball, as you're saying. But a really talented player, just a little bit of an underachiever, I think, on the tour in her singles game.
Yeah, certainly got great results in doubles. So really needing a solid game here as she trails love 3.
She seems to bend over and pull down a little bit on that serve too, doesn't she? Hit up on it.
Yeah, it's sort of a forced action rather than a lovely throwing motion. And again, they're pressing too early in the rally, just too impatient here. Beaten for pace and depth there. It's a great effort of hers to get to the Wimbledon final 2 years ago and then the semis again this year.
Very much so. Got a great game for Grass though, and when she's really on with that slice backhand, very difficult for the players to come over it. I think that's an area that Nigel Sears, which is Daniela's coach, I think he really could develop a little bit more of an attacking game and just a forefront game where she can come forward and use her volleys a little more. She is a great doubles player. She's got 2 Grand Slam mixed doubles titles.
The idea was right.
15-14.
Perhaps a little hesitant there. But at 40 love up, she had to take that on the full and really go for the winner when you've got a cushion of 3 points to break. That's a dream start for her here. just overhitting that. She defended well. A couple of chip forehands from out deep in the corner there just to defend. That's what I was talking about, the ability to respect some shots from your opponent. Henna probably would have tried to bash those balls back.
Yeah.
Handakova just hacked them back to stay in the rally. I mean, that's playing the points. That's being a smarter tennis player. So she saved 2. They're really struggling on this first serve. Wow, and the second. So double fault. 4-love, so that is a surprise.
Well, at 4-love, that serve certainly doesn't look like it's getting any better, does it?
No, that was a pretty terrible double fault. They're collapsing on it and dragging it down into the net.
Looks like she's come out here and she's a little bit tense. She hasn't quite relaxed into this match yet.
It's catching.
Love 50.
Potentially the better serve, though, by a long way. I think Handakova, she's got the height, obviously, but it's a better motion, and she can also get some nice topspin on the second serve, which means she'll be able to serve to the backhand better on the second serve.
Well, she's just had such a solid performance this year. She's so totally not intimidated by the big players. She's had so many opportunities of playing all the great players this year. The fact that she's got to 7 of the biggest tournaments, semi-finals or finals, is quite amazing.
30-50.
She's just slowly been building up confidence this year, and she's got a really well, her standard game, if she's not really on, what she can fall back on is just really solid tennis. So she doesn't often get herself into a lot of troubles or problems when she's playing a match. But good timing, everything's pretty easy. We're just trying to play a bit of catch-up in this game. 2 double faults and then goes for the big forehand.
First serve.
And just overhitting. So Justine Henna on the scoreboard, and importantly it's a break back. She's down 2 breaks, but at least has got one of them back, and also feels now that she's into the match, now that she's got her first game. Still a fair way back though from 4-1, particularly as she didn't actually do a lot to win the game. It was sort of given to her with a couple of doubles and a couple of errors.
That was an unusual game since the fact that she was up 4-0.
Part of the Belgian Fed Cup team, Justine Henna and Kim Clijsters, that won last year. Great thing for a small tennis nation like Belgium to win the Premier Women's Tennis Team event, the equivalent of the Davis Cup. Terrific performance from those two. They didn't play this year. I think there are some injuries there that stopped them from representing Belgium this year.
Time.
Henna serving, trailing 1-4. Oh, that was a bit wild.
13.
Tough shot to hit down the line. That off backhand when you're in the middle of the court. Very easy to push it wide like that happened there for Hantakova.
What? 15.
Yes, Justine Henin was actually one of the... She was the 5th player to win her debut WTA tournament, which was in Antwerp in 1999. Saw that match. And, gee, she really... All the players had never seen her before, and they were a little worried.
Second time.
Just a couple of errors by both players at this stage of the set.
Just not always looking too balanced on that backhand, is she, Alan? Just kind of pops up or leans on that back leg.
Yeah, well, again, she was rather extravagant with her attempt there when it puts her down in double break. If I was her, I'd be just trying to get into the match a bit more, play a bit more percentage tennis with my ground strokes. Well, serves the first ace, that saves one, but she's hitting the ball as if she's actually playing well.
That's right.
That's not the case. What a lovely little change of pace there, an angle from Hantakova. That is a smart shot.
Hantakova leads 5 games to 1.
5-1.
Very calm little player. Just took her time. Just tried to really move the ball around, bring that angle up, create the opportunity for herself.
So serving for the first set here. This would be a surprising scoreline if she's to win this game, and 6-1 would be somewhat of a surprise, I think, in this match between these two.
Love 15.
you, when she sees that opening, she really has pinpoint precision. Just puts it down this line so nicely. She's done that quite a few times in this match, in fact, hasn't she?
Well, if she can get the ball inside the baseline with her height, she's able to get it before it gets too high, that height and reach, and can get over it and really nail it down the line. And quite a big physical advantage here over Henna, who's really struggling around, being pushed around.
Well, she just looks like she's not having a good day out here.
Well, perhaps the delay may have she might be mentally into it when she came out onto the court. Hanging around all day might have had an effect on her.
40-50.
Certainly hasn't on Hentikova.
No. She looks like she's been sitting down listening to rocking music.
Well, she's got 2 set points here. Takes it on the first. So not a surprise that she might win the set,
6 games to 1.
Daniela Hentikova, but I think a surprise at the scoreline there. 6 games to 1. So Justine Henna, I think she'll need to really do something, Louise, to pick a game up. A lot of errors and not showing much patience at all at the moment.
No, she's really going to have to sit down here and just regroup and think out her match a little bit better, just making far too many errors and just not in this match at all. I think if you look at their warm-up prior to the US Open, Daniela Hentikova's just she's had some really good matches before the tournament. She's got to the semi-finals in Montreal and New Haven, and when you look at Justine Hennan's tournaments that she's played before here, she decided to stay back in Belgium and just really work on her training and play just practice matches. She didn't come to all the hard court tournaments at the USO in the States before the US Open, so just maybe that's proving a little bit of a difference here.
As we have a look at the first set summary.
There's that first serve for Hannon that's really troubling her, isn't it? That's a really low percentage.
All the others are in Hentikova's favour as well. The winners, 6-2, unforced errors. Points won at net. I mean, everything points to a pretty comfortable scoreline that it was at 6 games to 1. Set just taking 25 minutes. I'm sure we'll see an improvement, though, in the second set. Henna is a terrific fighter. And we know that she can certainly play a fair bit better than this.
Like you said, she's almost playing as if she is winning this match. If some of these shots start going in, that confidence may just really prove enough to get back in and on top of this match.
Well, she's serving to open the second set.
Love 15.
This is a bit what happens to Henna when she plays the Williams sisters. She's being overpowered here.
15-13.
Well, this forehand here really set it up. I thought that backhand was going cross-court, but just how she drove it down to that forehand side. That's been her weapon today, that off backhand from the centre of the court.
Thirteen. First game, second set.
Oh, Justine Henner just showing what great volley she's got. Great athlete, moves very well around the court. This drop shot just was going nowhere, and she did very well to move quickly across the net. Nice depth of shot there from Justine Henner.
Love 30.
That's what I think that Danielle Hantuchova really has to improve in her game if she's going to match the very top, is to be able to move in and just be a little bit more aggressive at the net. You have to put those smashes away a little bit easier. She's tall, shouldn't have problems with getting up to it.
A role reversal there. This time Henner had her opponent on the run. And Hantuchova, we've seen the other way around for most of the match.
Well, we haven't seen her step around that backhand and really take advantage of her forehand. Just deciding to do it on that point, and break point for Henner.
Well, she needed that break back. Let's see if she can hold serve, because the 2 games she's won so far, Justine Henner have been on her opponent's serve. You can see her just urging herself on here for a better effort. 1-all. Well, poor choice of shot there. She played it, she was on or about the baseline. It's a tough shot to play a drop shot from there. No angle to work with either. And Hennon's pretty quick as well, so lots of reasons not to have played a drop shot from there.
Well, just her game in general for Hantakova has just dropped a little bit. Just seems as though her concentration isn't quite as solid as it was in the first set.
Things just starting look a little better for Justine Henin.
14.
Well, we know that she's a fighter. But importantly, her timing's starting to improve, starting to pick up.
Great volley there by Hantakova. Really solid wrist action.
14-15.
The racket head going through the ball.
So you'd like to see her do that more often. I actually think her net play is very good.
Yeah.
But she doesn't have an approach shot because of the two-handed backhand.
Yeah.
Most of the ground strokes are hard drives, so perhaps she could come in off a couple of those. But usually when you play the two-handed backhand, you've come to a full stop. So that's good. If you get a low ball like that, the slice, actually you're still in movement and you follow through when you play a slice, so it naturally takes you towards the net like this.
That's good movement, and she's tall, and she looks pretty comfortable at the net. That's aggressive. She took it high though. The ball's coming up like that, rising. You want to take it the highest part over the net. If you let it drop, you can get into all sorts of problems.
Disappointed with herself there for missing that, and for the first time in the match, just in her hold serve. So the signs are there for her that things are going to maybe turn around a little in the second set. Too good a player really to have too many sets like that first one. Her opponent did play well, but she did contribute to it as well.
Well, you can't let your opponent have too long of run in the games and build too much confidence, because the longer that they dictate the play and build their own confidence, the longer it takes to break them down. So she's got to make a move in this early on in this second set, and that's just what she's doing.
Players covered up with the towels. It's cool. We've had a lot of rain and persistent drizzle.
Time.
This certainly is one of the wettest US Opens that I can remember. Feels a little bit more like Wimbledon at this point. Spend many hours sitting in the clubhouse at Wimbledon waiting for the grass to dry. Hantakova to serve now. She'll need to hold her service to even this second set up. Oh, there's the old 1-2. Good serve. Short reply, just moved in. Nice easy backhand cross court there.
15 all.
Little jog up and down on the spot that she does every time before she serves. Superstition or characteristic. They must have just caught the baseline with that ball. It appeared to skid onto Anna. And there she goes, does that all the time. It's good, she's got a routine. It usually means that on big points you don't rush if you're nervous, because you're going to follow the same routine all the time. So it's a sound in-between point routine. About the depth on that drive and turning defence into attack. Really great lob. Whoop. I think she's down. Left foot, you saw it there. I think it slipped and she's landed, I think, on the right thumb. She's flexing it there. She went out to play that ball and the left foot seemed to slip on the line. Now we've had a little bit of light drizzle, so maybe that baseline was a little wet. Let's have a look at it here. Watch the left foot. Slides from underneath her and she lands awkwardly on the court, and I got a feeling that her right thumb got jammed. So remember, pick it up here. The right thumb gets there, jammed between the court and the racket handle. You can see she's immediately holding the right thumb, just shaking it there.
Dear, the left foot, the ankle.
Well, that seemed to be okay. She didn't. I think she was lucky there, but it seems to be the thumb that's the problem. I think she's called for the trainer, who'll no doubt come out and offer some assistance. I would imagine put some ice on. But that's what happens when we've mentioned it many times, and you see the umpire when he gets down, the first thing he does if it's starting to rain is he checks how slippery the line is, because it's as we've mentioned so often, paint and any slight moisture on the line makes them very, very slippery and dangerous like that. So let's hope that she's still flexing it there. Doesn't appear to be in a lot of agony just looking at her, but she's just nodding. Is the umpire, is the trainer rather, on the way? And confirmed that it is. Now it's starting to play in a bit, I think. And gosh, let's hope that that isn't serious, because she was in pretty good form here, not just for this match but for the remainder of the circuit, this tournament, and for the rest of the year, because if she's got a severe thumb injury, you can't hold your racket, you're out for some time. So let's hope that's not the case.
I should imagine if Martina Hingis is out playing on any of these courts, she'll be extremely worried about any dampness on the lines, because just seeing her ankle, how it bent over then when she slipped. Martina Hingis just having 2 ankle operations on tendons. You certainly wouldn't want to be pushing that
Well,
when there's a weakness there.
You just put some cold water on it just to... I'm surprised she hasn't got some ice out of the... I've got one of the ball boys to get some ice out of the refrigerator there, or the cold. And unless they all rip the umpire out of the fridge to immediately put ice on it. I think she's now starting to... I think she's a bit distressed now. Probably it's all starting to go through her mind. Goodness me, does this mean the end of the tournament and I'm playing so well? See, the umpire or the supervisors there, court supervisors, have raised an umbrella, so it is drizzling. And we think it may have contributed to this. Watch the left foot. Slides along the line and over she topples and lands on the right hand, jamming the thumb between the court and her racket handle.
Justine Henner did very well as well to get that ball back. Now what happens in that case if she had have missed that point because she was...
well, she would have lost the point. It would have been game. Now she won the point because she hit the ball over.
It's an obvious distraction, though, to your opponent as well.
Well, she didn't do it deliberately, though.
Yeah, that's right.
It wasn't a deliberate distraction.
I know, but if your hat falls off or if...
well, you get a warning the first time, but no, that would have just been bad luck. You shouldn't have watched what she was doing.
No, that's right. She looks very upset, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does. And I must say it's taken a fair while for the trainer to get out here. It's been a couple of minutes now. We've got some ice. I would have thought that she should have immediately done that herself, although you don't think clearly. You're too upset and distressed when it first happens, but she should have tried to get some ice and wrap it herself. Yep,
just stops the swelling immediately happening.
Yep. I think with a bit of luck it mightn't be too bad, but we'll have to wait and see on that. Okay, well, a few minutes ago we had the court attendance. Look at that, like little ants. Busy beavers, aren't they? Pretending the rain has stopped, and as I said, we're hoping to bring you Lindsay Davenport's match as soon as these beavers dry up the court. They are working furiously. And that's just a few moments ago. Must be about 50 guys out there, 50 court attendants all down drying. They had the squeegees out first. Now they bring out the towels to just finally mop up the last remaining bits of moisture and dampness. A couple of patient youngsters waiting. But unfortunately, this is now live. And that hope that we had there, I'm afraid, has been extinguished just for the moment, as the light drizzle has returned here to Arthur Ashe Stadium. So very, very frustrating.
New York City, I don't know why I love you. Maybe it's because of you, man. Like so many others, I found it all too easy to stand off at a distance and criticize.
Welcome back. When rain stopped play in the round of 16 match between Justine Henin and Daniela Hantukova yesterday, Hantukova was nursing a bruised right thumb and ankle after slipping at the baseline. Things went from bad to worse earlier today when Hantukova dropped the second set to tie the match at 1-all. We joined coverage at 3-2 in the third with Henin serving.
And when we left it with a rain delay yesterday, which was the end of play for them, Hantukova just slipped on the baseline and hurt her thumb, and was probably fortunate that the rain delay came at that exact time. They've resumed the match today. So the score, it's 1-all now. Justine Henin serving. It's 2-3. Delay happened yesterday. Hantukova had raced through the first set 6-1. You can see in the scoreboard behind it. Was leading to down 1-2 when the rain came and the injury. Come back out today, and Henin has turned it around, winning that second set 6-3. And we're in for a pretty tight third set. So Louise, it would appear that the thumb, which looked pretty sore to me yesterday, must be okay.
Well, it must, obviously it is, because she looks like she's pretty much swinging freely there, and it doesn't look like there's too much pain coming from her face. I know she was crying after the match yesterday, and I think Hannah could have been thanking her lucky stars. It certainly came at the right time.
Well, I believe she has had some treatment in the second set, and also I think had an MRI or an X-ray of it, which confirmed there was no break. So I would imagine just heavy bruising.
Well, sometimes that's all it takes as well, just to know for the player that there isn't a break or there's no stress fracture, or because then you can kind of go out, eliminate all of that out of your head, and just deal with the pain if there is some, and I'm sure there is. But just to look at Hannah's form there, nice forehand.
She was a bit disappointing yesterday in the set, and
she
a bit
was.
that we saw her play. She was really struggling on a serve. Was really trying to force the issue with power. I think that could be one of the problems for her. Hentikova has lovely easy power, and Henna's trying to develop power. It's more of a forced, it's not a natural part of a game. She's doing particularly well, but not sure if she's going to be quite as good as Hentikova.
40-15.
Well, she just looked a little flat yesterday as well, and I think she's developed her game, quite well at this point in her career. Whereas Hentikova, I think there's so many more elements that Nigel Sears, her coach, can really start to implement. So it's going to be an interesting next couple of years, I guess, for Hentikova. It's certainly going to be a real development stage for her. Confidence is a great thing, and she certainly has won a lot of matches this year, Daniela Hentikova, so quite a lot of those on hard court.
It's often a fleeting thing as well, Louise. Sometimes everything's going fine, and it doesn't take too much to evaporate at this game. Such a small margin between the top players. And at this level, the mental side of it is so critical, because they all hit the ball well.
Game winner.
Absolutely. I mean, we've just seen Maresma and Kleisters play, and I just think at the moment Kim Kleisters has just lost that mental edge.
Yeah. Yes, I actually thought that Maresma would have an excellent chance of winning that match. She's been playing well. I don't think Kim is. I don't know how hard she's got other things in her life at the moment. She's really trailing around after Leighton Hewitt, which is terrific that they're happy in that. But I mean, something has to suffer. I'm sure she's not as 100% committed as she may have been 18 months or so ago.
15 love.
So 3-all. There's a customary little jog up and down on the spot before every first serve for Hentikova.
Just obviously feeling that Hentikova's may having the upper edge in this match. Just looks like Hannon is really forcing the issue a little bit there, overplaying that backhand. That's not normal for Justine. Really very consistent little player. A lot of players can play very well diagonally and hitting the ball cross court, but I feel Hentikova really plays the lines very well. Likes hitting down the alleys, which you don't often see that.
So like everybody else, these players have been waiting around all day to get on, and finally a chance to complete their match late into the evening. 3 out of the last 4 days have been severely interrupted with rain delays here at the US Open. Can't ever remember it being quite as badly affected as this. There's that lovely flowing backhand of Anna.
40-13.
Daniela's wearing the shorts tonight, Alan. You like that as nice as the skirts?
I think that's a sensational outfit that she's wearing, Handicova. Can't find anything to criticise about that at all.
No.
And she's got the shape, the physique to really carry it off, hasn't she?
She's got the
Tall.
legs to go with those pants, yes.
Game.
And she holds serve, but everything about her is elegant. I mean,
Yeah.
I think her game is very stately, and
Yeah.
the way she carries herself on the court.
4 games to 3.
I mean, I can't see any way this girl won't be a top player. Well, she's already seeded 7. But, I mean, I think she's a potential Grand Slam winner in a couple of years' time. I mean, the Williams sisters are certainly going to be around for a while.
Yeah.
But give her 2 or 3 years of development and maturity, and she's bound to be there. Justine Henin's already been in a Grand Slam final, Wimbledon last year, back in the semis this year, and she's been a semi-finalist at the French, so she burst onto the scene, and she's having a year of, well, maybe she's just plateaued a little bit, Henna. Yeah, we
I think so. Yeah, just Daniela sitting there really meditating, I'm sure visualising how she wants to play this next game. Such an important element in the players' games these days. A lot of them have sports psychologists, and gee, they all play such a high level, and they're all such great athletes, and they'll hit the ball so hard, so they're always searching for that edge that they can find just to get on top of the other players.
I notice she's not looking at her right
Time.
thumb at all, so she's obviously been able to put that out of her mind, which is good, because
Yep.
you can't be thinking of outside factors, because then it's too easy for it to creep into your mind as a possible excuse.
Yeah, well, I think that's why it's good that she had the MRI, just knowing in the back of her mind that there is, she's not making any further damage, and then you can just deal with it.
So Justine Henin to serve. 3-4, third set.
I just love that backhand. Just moving in. It wasn't a great volley from
15 love.
Handicova. She certainly could have done a lot more with that, though. Just let the ball get really down low. She should have moved forward and tried to take this up higher over the net. Can't let that ball get down low like this. She had to keep moving forward. Had a much better opportunity of putting that away.
This backhand of Anna's,
13.
Louise, do you think it was a natural shot, or was she taught this when she was a young girl coming up in Belgium?
Well, a lot of the girls that play on clay, when I first saw Justine Henin come onto the tour, I almost thought she had a game like a guy. So I think she's really trained a lot with the boys. And for me, that is a classical, well, almost looking at Correccia, it reminds
it's a
me
very
a lot
strong
of...
grip, very strong grip.
Very strong, and you've got to be strong in the shoulder. And I think it's a beautiful stroke, and I think that's something she's just naturally picked up, and then she's just developed that and worked very hard at it, because it's very hard to teach a player that kind of backhand.
40-11.
There's not many girls. Emily Mauresmo's got a very strong backhand like that, but there really isn't that many girls that can hit that backhand. Extreme grip and very strong in the shoulder. Very closed stance as well. She's not open like a lot of the players play these days.
And the amazing thing that I find about it is when she's so slight of stature that when she was growing up, normally you would have think someone as small and as light as that would have had a two-handed backhand.
Absolutely.
So obviously a lovely natural shot.
Game,
And she holds serve.
4 games over.
So we are at crunch time here. So remember, play resumed at 6-1 to Handicova and 1-2, and it has progressed to a set all and 4 all. Hantakova to serve. She is seeded 11, as we've seen. Justine Enna 8.
First serve. Love 15.
Well, I think Daniela Hantakova has really surprised a lot of people on the WTA tour. I actually played doubles with her 2 years ago at the Australian Open, and to think that she's edging in the top 10 right now, I'm quite surprised. Thinking back how she played 2 years, her level of improvement has just been amazing.
Well, you can see the potential there, though, because she's got the physique and the technique, and all her shots are is excellent. So it's a question of her just gaining the experience with the game that she's got, and I think the scope was there for rapid development and improvement, which she's showing.
She's smart. She's collected the right people around her as well. I think she's very smart to play with someone like Arantxa Sanchez in doubles, who's obviously really teaching her so much about the game, and that's the area where the young girls now really have to develop. They've got to get that net play, you know, to be in a chance to build games that could possibly beat the Williamses. Everyone can play from the back. It's now implementing that baseline game, moving forward and just really trying to get a much more positive and aggressive game.
Good shot on the run from Enna. Very quick. One of her strengths in the game. You could see that she was caught, just couldn't get in quickly enough there behind that approach shot. It's something maybe she could improve on. As I said, she's graceful, but she could be a little bit more explosive movement, I think. Daniela Hantakova, well, she's facing a break point here at this critical stage.
Yeah, she looks a little bit too proper. She needs to be able to dive and get that outfit a bit dirty.
A bad miss there really by Enna. The ball onto her forehand, which is not her strength. Backhand and her speed around the court and her competitive ability are the strengths of Justine Enna. Gee, another miss hit. Just coming up very sharply there.
She's a funny little player. I was watching her play doubles a couple of days ago and came out and did like 4 double faults, and that's like mentally just going off the boil so quickly.
Well, lovely finish to the game for Hantakova. Just a couple of seconds ago she was looking at a second serve on break point. Has quickly turned it around. A couple of mishits from her opponent. Yes, as I said, I think the problem for Enna is she is so slight with her build and her stature. She's trying now to develop power, and it's forced power.
Yep.
And the shots, apart from a backhand, aren't quite there to increase the power rapidly on the serve and the forehand. So it's all a bit of a real effort for her, whereas this girl, it's effortless.
Oh, absolutely. She reminds me a little bit of the way kind of Leighton Hewitt plays, you know. She's great from the back. She's really, she doesn't hit the ball, or it doesn't look like she's hitting the ball that hard. And that's like Leighton, but what she does so well is she places the ball so close to the lines, and she hits the right shot at the right time, and that's being a smart player. So, you know, she's already got a great base to build her game around. She's intelligent, she moves well, she's got great ground strokes. Now just adding those other elements in that can just bring her game up a little bit, and she's going to be... she won't be 11, I don't think, at this time of the US Open next year.
I don't think so.
You just got to wonder what she's got to do, though, to get in with the Williamses, the Davenports and Capriati, because they're the big builders.
Yeah, well, I think she's in with a chance against all of them except the Williamses. I think they're clearly head and shoulders above anybody, and so no one's up to their level at the moment. But she's, I think, on a par just about with the others, even Capriati and Davenport. So it's 4-5, crunch time. Good deep serve, and in fact, Handicova thought it was too deep. Well, the Cyclops didn't register, so... I mean, it has to be activated by the linesman, otherwise it won't. He's got to press the little button there to activate it. If he's having a bit of a daydream.
He might have been watching the planes landing at LaGuardia next door. This is where it's going to start to get very interesting, you know, just to see the competitiveness in Handicova, whether she can stand tall and keep throwing the punches.
Too heavy.
That's consistently heavy, isn't it? Just pounding that backhand so deep there. Justine Henin just couldn't keep the depth of her own shot. Gee, and when she gets that short ball, she really deals with it correctly. Showing good experience thus far, Handicova.
A disappointing miss from her there at 15-30. Close calls this game. That second serve on the opening point and then that first serve there. One apiece. Courageous tennis.
Yeah, that was an athletic jump, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, she's a fine athlete, absolutely.
40-30.
But it was gutsy to do that at the 30-all stage. I mean, had she missed that, she would have been down match point.
Yeah, it was smart play by Hantikova. She didn't actually try to do too much. She just made Hannah hit that ball over the left shoulder. Not the easiest of shots up high off the backhand like that.
Holds on.
5 games over.
So that time there saying 2 hours and 3 minutes. Don't forget that this match resumed at 6-1-1-2. So that is in fact the length of the match, but that isn't how long they've actually been playing this evening. Couldn't be any tighter though. Two of the most promising and up-and-coming young players on the women's tour. Set all, 5 all. I guess they're not up-and-coming anymore, they're here.
Yep, they've arrived.
Yep.
Seems quite ironic that these two are absolutely having a huge battle out here. One of them is going to win in a very close 3-set match to walk out on the court for their next round in the quarterfinals to play Serena Williams, who has won her rounds almost every match. 6-1, 6-1, 6-love, 6-2. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like,
she's only lost 10 games getting to the
13.
quarterfinals. But that's what you play for, isn't it? To test yourself against the very best. And one of these girls will do that, one of these players.
Thirty 15.
Same routine before every first serve. A little jogging up and down the spot. Bounces. So that's good. She's not going to rush as the match gets close. Wow, that is a shot.
30
oh,
all.
that's that backhand we've been talking about, and that just shows the strength. Good serve, and really just stands her ground. That's excellent shot. Great balance. You've got to be very strong in the midsection. Actually, her core stability would be very, very strong.
We won exactly the same number of points in this third set. 5 all, 30 all.
Yeah.
Same number of points. Smart tennis though from Hantikova, hammering that forehand side, which is the weakness.
40 30.
It's not that it's a poor shot, but it's difficult to attack in his backhand. Smart tennis too. What poise there from Hantikova, didn't panic. Holds her serve at this critical stage.
Djokovic 6 games to 5.
You'd have to say that would be the opposite for Hantikova. Hannon's backhand being the real weapon. Her forehand, as you said, it's not really that it's not that it's such a bad shot, but certainly Hantikova, I think her forehand's her weapon, and her backhand's just very, very solid. It's great to see a player that almost has identical forehand and backhand in strength. So But I do think her forehand is a little better than her backhand. What do you...
Yep, I do, but the problem I see for Henin is that the forehand, it needs to be a strength in the women's game.
Yep.
All the women have got great backhands.
Yep.
Okay, she has a particularly good one-handed backhand, but if you compare it to other great players' backhand, it's not
Yep.
anything overly better than theirs, but they've all got better forehands than her.
No,
and
that's
I think
right.
that's going to be a problem for her, because you win matches by dominating from the backhand corner where you're running around and hitting forehands.
Yep.
Back to Steffi Graf, all the great players dominate, they run around second serves,
Yep.
and they threaten with their forehands.
Yep.
Not too many people threaten with their backhands.
That's right.
In
And-
the women's game. So that is, I see, a problem for Justine Enna.
Yeah.
The only one who ever runs round a forehand to hit a backhand would be Hingis sometimes on the return of serve, because she favours that backhand return sometimes. But that's the problem for her. You have to have a big forehand. Everybody has a good backhand.
And a big serve and her height, and it's just going to hold her back a little bit.
Well, she's serving here. Take this into the tie break. It's 5-6. It starts well.
13 love.
Well, whoever wins this match tonight will certainly be celebrating their best performances here at the US Open. For Henin, her best performance here is in the 4th round, and for Hantukova, she's only played here once and she has not gotten past the 1st round.
Alt.
Bit short the return. Enna will come in with her favourite shot.
40-50.
This stage of these tight matches, you're trying to get the ball away from your opponent's favourite shot. On the big points, you want to be trying to get them play their least favourite shot, and they're obviously trying to do the same thing to you. So for Hantukova, it would be trying to expose Henin's forehand.
Game winner.
6-all.
Oh, this is it.
6 games all.
I have to
Final
think
set
that
tiebreak.
Hantukova's just had a little bit better preparation coming into the US Open on the hard court. Semi-finalists at 2 big tournaments right before the US Open, Montreal and New Haven, and she'll be really hoping that she can grab some of the confidence and experience from those tournaments, whereas Hannah hasn't really been playing on the hard courts prior to here.
There's that forehand strength. So it gets down to also, when these players are so evenly matched, a question of who can hold their nerve.
Yep.
And it's easy to say, but you've got to be able to try to play to win in these tie breaks and not try to get too safe. You've got to get the balance right. And they're very often very nerve-wracking things to play. You don't want to go for too much and commit wild errors, but then you don't want to be too negative and allow your opponent to take the initiative. Is that in? Call good, I think. I don't think Justine was too sure about the call.
Gee.
A bit hard for us to tell from there, but doesn't really matter. It's on the scoreboard. Early opportunity with Hantakova. Well, that was a smart shot, that lob.
3-0 Hantakova.
Well, Hannah just feeling that she's not matching Hantakova from the baseline, so trying to press to come into the net, forcing Hantakova to hit that excellent lob. Hantakova's to win this, she will equal her best performance at a Grand Slam, quarterfinals of Wimbledon this year.
Excellent tennis from both players. What a top point.
Well, this is certainly showing the nerve from Justine Henin. Just come in, play such a solid volley there, nice and deep.
Such a critical point, because had she lost that, she was pretty much out of it. So 3-1, Hantakova. Confidence there on that shot.
Just took a couple of steps into this ball. Watch this, lands a little short, takes a couple of steps in, really takes that early. That's a tough shot, taking that up so high. Excellently driven down the line.
So back on serve in the tie-break. 2-3. That was a shaky serve. No weight transference there. She was falling backwards as she hit that one. That's one of the difference also with the two players. Yep. The second serve of Hantakova's is technically sounder. And under pressure there, Justine in a double faulting. So handing back the advantage. Brilliant shot. Courage. You've got to seize the opportunity if you're gutsy enough. And Hantakova is on this occasion. She was only on the baseline. It wasn't that it was that bad a shot at all from Enna. Just a case of making something happen. 5-2. Well, not over yet.
She was just thinking a little bit on that one.
Yeah.
Caught in two minds. Didn't know if she wanted to really go out after it, and then decided to get a bit negative there on the back foot. It's just going to roll it over.
Well, a couple of errors just when she'd done so well to get to 5-2. Just tightening up a little here. So back on serve again. Justine Enna hanging in here. That's brilliant stroking, corner to corner.
See, that's really great tennis from Hantukova. There's no mistakes out here today. You've got to hit a lot of tough shots and play very well to win a match like this. I think she's going to relish in the fact of playing against Serena Williams. She just wants to judge how well she's playing tonight. If she can just close this match out.
Well, she's at match point. Wow, what a strange shot to play on match point down from Justine Enna. I can't believe that she would play that shot. So disappointing end for her, but really terrific match, Louise, of two players that we're going to be seeing a lot of, and particularly the winner there, Daniela Hantukova.
So a gutsy win for the number 11 seed, battling injury to win the third set tiebreak. Her reward, if you could call it that, is a quarter-final berth against the ever-imposing Serena Williams. After the break, Leighton Hewitt in action in his round of 16 match against Yuri Novak.